Okay, so here's an opportunity for us to learn a little bit more about dog body language. And what I've got here is I've got the dog stress response illustration. This is an illustration that I produced. It's on my website, vivianzatola.com. You can download it when you subscribe to my newsletter. It's in English. It's going to be coming out in Spanish. This is a video, and what we're going to do is we're going to observe this dog's behaviors, and I'll help translate, and then I'm going to offer some suggestions on how we can work with such a dog in the future. Okay, so looking at the dog stress response, we've got fight, flight, freezing, and fidgeting. Freezing and fidgeting are what we term oscillations between fighting and fleeing. So the dog doesn't know what to do. When an individual doesn't know what to do, they freeze. There are animals like rabbits, fish, prey animals will freeze, they'll get still. Fidgeting, also known as fawning, that can be, you can think of it in the human world as, maybe when you're feeling nervous, you may be a victim, you're placating somebody, you don't want to get hurt, that sort of thing. So fidgeting. And fidgeting can look like excitement too, so it can be tricky. This area is a little tricky, but certainly fighting and fleeing are coping responses. The individual has learned that works for them, okay? But this dog is displaying very subtle behaviors, and we're going to go through them. I'll slow some of them down. So initially we see the lip lick. Okay, so the lip lick is a fidgeting response. I want to start with how he's just staying still on the bed. He doesn't choose to get closer to the person who I believe is on my left, our left. He's just staying still. He is accepting the food, which is great. But we see a lot of lip licks, again, low-level stress. He is listening to her. We are looking at his muzzle, his eyes. He's taking the food right there. She approaches him and touches him. Okay, we see the white of the eye, and he's stiff. Okay, and he is not sure of what's going to happen next, which is why he's displaying these behaviors. There is some appeasement licking. That's when the tongue is, it looks like a serpent. So there's a mix of emotions going on, and he may be moving. This is tricky because what we're trying to do is we're trying to associate something positive with his perception of a threat, right? That's what this person is trying to do. But we're going a little, maybe moving a little bit too fast. And again, we're not allowing him choice. And how would we allow him choice? We would allow him to come closer to us or move away, right? Rather than going to him. But see these behaviors? That's good. But then he's also giving us, I'm going to let it play out a little bit until I see more. Look at that face. The whale eye, right? Stiff. His head goes down. Even though, her hand is coming over him, dogs do not like to have something, especially shy dogs, skittish dogs. He comes down. And then it's the whale eye, the white of the eye, the stiffness. But I'll show you, I'll bring it a little bit, I'll advance it a little bit faster and show you, again, right there. watch the muzzle. In the front, he bares his teeth. And it's a quick, right there, stiff whale eye there. He does it before he does the lick. Again, his nose kind of twitches. So, something that I picked up, and it continues. So, displaying a lot of distress mixed with some appeasement. So there's a lot of this in here. He obviously he doesn't go to full biting, but he is displaying, I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel comfortable. However, I do see him moving in that direction because A, he would not take food if he weren't. And he would have bitten her. He would have bitten the hand or snapped at it. So, however, that doesn't mean that we should be pushing. So we all have a tendency of moving a little too fast. And so I would have backed up a little bit more, or even played a game with him, you know, a targeting game, or look at me, yes, good boy, throw the treat away. We could also change our tone, and we could whisper, right? Dogs are hearing us. Their hearing is 66,000 hertz. Ours is 20 in the 20s, and so we always have a tendency of speaking louder because we don't think they can hear us, but they can. We could speak in a sing-song voice. Yeah. We could also spray Adaptil on us, or use some aromatherapy before we enter the home. So those both have been shown to have, to reduce stress in dogs, those different types of strategies, of modalities. So, you know, using a multimodal approach where we're using multiple methods, play, food, laughter. We could also just go in this house and, you know, sit at the table, read a book, toss some food. So he starts to get used to us in his presence. We could ask him if he wants to approach. We could play the treat-retreat game, and then, you know, slowly build up trust. But here, he's displaying a lot of distress, a little shaking too. But good job. The handler just needs to look at the video and readjust their behavior, right? So we don't get that. Just because he doesn't bite doesn't mean he's okay. Just because he takes the food doesn't mean he's okay with this. This might be even considered coercion, right? Because he does want to eat the food, but he just doesn't feel comfortable. All right, I hope that was helpful. Let me know what you think. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask.